WBCK. Tuesdays at this time, our Miles for Memories moment, which, of course, sheds light on the issue of Alzheimer's and dementia in Calhoun County, trying to change the face of it. Miles for Memories, of course, a grassroots organization working to do exactly that. And it's like a bunch of old friends in here today. Joining us from the Area Agency on Aging is Carla Fales. Good morning, Carla.
Good morning.
And Christy Angelo, Community Service Trooper with the Michigan State Police. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Bunch of old friends here. This is a very important subject, though, one that I think even if you don't have a relative or a close friend who is dealing with these issues, you hear this in the news a fair amount, and so you can relate to it. That is when someone with dementia or Alzheimer's wanders off. Boy, when you get the call on this, police do, what happens, Christy?
Well, what we want to tell people is don't panic. If there is a diagnosis from a doctor, by a doctor, you want to let the law enforcement officer know. Mm-hmm. If there's medication involved, you would like to let them also know that. How long they have been missing. If there may be an address that they might be familiar with, where they're going. If they have a vehicle, if they're driving a vehicle, what type of vehicle, if there's any gas in the car. Do they have a valid driver's license, or are they in restrictions, or have no license whatsoever? If they're on foot, also if they may be on a bicycle, the length of time that they may have been missing, and like I said, any other addresses, because many times they're not going to recall the address that they live or reside in now. Mm-hmm. It may be from earlier time in their life, so they may remember that. So any information that you have that is pertinent to how their thinking process is.
Boy, that's an interesting thought, because when you think about the notion of wandering away, it's not just a stroll down the street. They hop in a car and take off.
Yes,
right. And sometimes we think that it's just wandering, but many times they do have a purpose or a mission that they're out to accomplish, as Christy mentioned, whether it's going back to, a former residence, going to someplace that's familiar. Many times there is a task that they have in mind. And so thinking through those things, like where did they live, where did they work, where was a familiar territory to them, can be helpful to the police.
And so you take all that information and try and run with it.
Absolutely. We would like to obviously search the surrounding area. If maybe they lived out of town, they may be headed towards a direction I've had where people have gotten lost, were on their way to a doctor's appointment, and they're in Battle Creek, and the next thing we know, they're found in Detroit. So we like to get that out as a bulletin, and then also we like to put them in as a missing person with the information as far as their medical background. That's very important.
Okay. Now, of course, Carla, the best thing would be to try and keep this from happening, right?
Most definitely. And there are some steps that folks can take. Christy mentioned some of them, and just knowing information ahead of time, because trying to come up to that, in a stressful situation can be difficult. But one of the tools that exists is there are some things that you can get through security companies and sometimes home monitoring companies that are called wander alerts. They'll notify someone if a door is opened, set off an alarm. That type of stuff can be really helpful. Involves a little bit of investment, but based on the amount of stress that it reduces. Sure. Something as simple as a personal emergency response system can be helpful. If the person, there's some now that run off of the wireless networks, and so it makes it a little easier to do that. The other two is there are systems that you can tag pajamas and different things like that. These were developed initially for children, particularly children with autism, but they've been used successfully with older adults. And then the other is to make sure you have a way of informing your network of support. Make sure that you have phone numbers for, if it's like me, I can't even dial my home phone number because I don't know it.
We just don't remember these anymore.
Make sure you have that type of information available to you. And then the other prevention strategy, which people don't like to talk about, is going through the process of having a license suspended or keys taken away or out of their reach.
Right.
You can do something very simple, like don't take the keys away, take the car key away, give them another car key that doesn't work on the car. I know it sounds tricky, but you're talking about safety, and you're talking about a time when people aren't thinking rationally, and so you are protecting them, and that can be really helpful. That way, they have those car keys, they're available to them, but they can't drive the car that's sitting in the garage.
Right. All right. These are all good tips, and we appreciate that, both of you, for trying to prevent the situation and reacting to it if it does happen. Thank you so much, Carla and Christy. Miles for Memories is a grassroots organization seeking to change the face of Alzheimer's disease in Calhoun County through movement, programming, and research. You can get more information at 979-1412 or just search Miles for Memories in that little search box at the top of Facebook, and that'll be easy to find. Our Miles for Memories moments here on Tuesdays just before 9 on WBCK.